This is the Buwwy Breakdown recorded Wednesday, July 13th, 2022, and today we're talking about Bayonetta 3, as well as that big, interesting PlayStation Plus game catalog for July kind of announcements. It's very interesting. We'll have a discussion about that coming up. Okay, hello everybody, and if you noticed, I'm playing some music in the background here. I hope it's not that obnoxious, but I'm going to try this specific way of doing music, because right now I put it after this. I put the music in after, and that takes quite a bit of time. So if I can just have the music come in here, add the beginning music, at the end music, and then add the thing, that'll shave off like 15 minutes off of it, so I can get this almost immediately after I record it. So that's what we're doing with the music. But yeah, today's I hope your Tuesday was pretty good. I did an episode yesterday about physical versus digital games. Pretty okay episode. Thought we had an interesting discussion there. And I've literally not touched the video game. I went to see Thor last night, which I don't think I'll do like a review, but maybe like a little thing, no spoilers, but it was okay. I'm starting to think these Marvel things, Thor Love and Thunder seemed to be like a really subdued, kind of inconsequential kind of story. It felt really small and really cheap and like a TV show. All of these Marvel things, it felt like one of the Marvel TV shows in terms of scope or scale. It wasn't like Ragnarok. A lot of these Marvel movies are starting to kind of not, when Endgame and Infinity War and that era of Marvel, it felt like there were some stakes and some interesting concepts to explore with some of these characters. But now it seems that all of that is lost, and they're just kind of treading out old things and trying to do some new stuff, and it was really bad. The first like, it dragged for like the first hour. It kind of picked up in the second hour. I would say the second half is probably better. Once like all the characters have had their motivations established and everything, it starts to pick up a little and is a little better and somewhat a little funnier. But for most part, all of the jokes fell flat, and some of the jokes felt like they were just very, very poor, very bad. There were some good setups some places, but genuinely, I'm starting to lose it for Marvel. I'm not watching any of it. I didn't watch Ms. Marvel. I didn't finish Moon Knight. Didn't finish Hawkeye. So these Marvel shows are starting to their Marvel projects are starting to kind of get grating after a little while. I kind of felt Doctor Strange did a better job. It felt more like a big kind of Marvel movie with some interesting stakes. Most of that probably was the idea of the multiverse and how that worked in Spider-Man. But genuinely, Thor was pretty bland, pretty boring, pretty not nearly near the quality of Ragnarok. But it was fine, perfectly fine. Anyways, we'll get away from that. Let's talk. I said I was gonna do shower thought discussion. Talk about kind of more old topics, kind of big, kind of idea-based topics. But now I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to talk about the news. This is going to be a news thing. I think talking about the news gives me a little more ability to kind of stay focused within a specific topic. So we're just gonna do that from now on, and I think that's better because I have a lot more things to say about the news generally when I'm in this kind of recording mood. So we have two relatively small stories, I should say, but I feel like one of this PS Plus one has some big implications if Sony can keep this up. So Let's first discuss the Bayonetta 3 pretty quick, because I don't have too many opinions about it. Bayonetta 3, perfectly fine. They released a trailer. It's coming out on October 28th, I believe. And I watched the trailer. It was like 3 minutes or so. It was pretty good. It had some good music. It had some good visuals. The game, for being on the Switch, looks absolutely gorgeous. The thing I most like about Bayonetta is its art direction and is its attitude and sense of style and pizzazz and showmanship, and over the top kind of angel demon and all of that witch shit is very fun to kind of see take place in the game. And this seems to continue that. The style of this game looks visually the best of any of them. It looks very interesting. Bayonetta looks fantastic. All the characters look really good. There was like a train sequence where they're on this black moving running train and it's going all nuts, and many more things with like cityscapes and a lot of fun stuff. But again, I'm not necessarily, I have been complaining about Nintendo's release schedule a lot recently, and in saying that, I did kind of say that, they put, they put release to be determined in 2022 for Bayonetta 3, and I'm like, I don't think it's coming out in 2022, or 2022 rather. They put it as 2029. I'm thinking it's going to be delayed to 2023, and I'm wrong. It was October 28th, which is earlier than I even expected. I thought it'd be around November, but still coming up, we have Xenoblade 3 this month in July 29th. September 9th, we have Splatoon 3. November, Pokemon and Bayonetta for 2020, or for October. So right in between Splatoon 3 in November, and Pokemon. I'm still, my complaints of the Nintendo release schedule, especially when you include June and May and this entire year, I still think it's a weak schedule. These are 4. In terms of how big they are, Bayonetta is definitely the least successful of these. I think in how they performed. I think certainly Bayonetta 2, the original release, performed poorly because it was on the Wii U, so didn't have the ability to sell that much. And I don't know what the first Bayonetta sold, but and I don't know what their ports on Switch sold. I'm sure they sold fine, but obviously nowhere to Pokemon or Splatoon levels, and I'm sure not Xenoblade levels either. So Bayonetta is like the smallest of these games to release, and then probably then it goes Xenoblade, then Splatoon, then Pokemon, and even Splatoon is a relatively middling sale. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Splatoon 2 sold several million. I actually don't know how much Splatoon 2. Let's look. How much did Splatoon 2 sell? I'm sure. Let's go with 15 million. That's what I think. Hey, close. 13.3 million as of March 2022. So, anyways, what I'm saying is, my complaints still hold. I'm very excited for Splatoon, but that's pretty much it. So I'm excited for Bayonetta. This trailer definitely. I had no interest in the game before, or very little. Now I have a tangible interest, I guess we could say. Not tangible, but it reached the threshold of me being interested. So I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up on October 28th, especially since it's probably gonna be $60. I don't think I'm gonna get it that day, but I'll certainly be looking forward to playing it whenever that is. Maybe it will be October 28th. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, all of that being said, that's Bayonetta 3. Looks fine. Looks okay. Looks pretty good, actually. So, thumbs up. Next topic, second topic we have today, is this big, giant PlayStation Plus game catalog lineup for July. Now, the catalog lineup itself, I said big. this catalog lineup is not big, probably at all. I don't think this is making waves too much, but I think the precedent that this sets is. So before we get into that, let's just talk about what is included in this lineup. So this is from PlayStation Blog. PlayStation Blog puts out here PlayStation Plus game catalog lineup for July, and then sorry, okay, here we go. Let's read these games, all presumably coming on July 29th, I believe. Okay, Stray, which is that cat game. They announced that was coming as a day one release in that June State of Play before Summer Games Fest. So we knew about that, but that is coming on with this upgrade here. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. So that's included. And then PS5, PS4 version of Marvel's Avengers is there as well. And then a bunch of other smaller titles they have here. Those were like the big three they wanted to highlight. Then they have a ton of Assassin's Creed games, Unity, Black Flag, Rogue, Freedom Cry, and then the Ezio Collection. And then they have Saints Row 4, Re-Elected, and then Saints Row Get Out of Hell. And then a couple of other smaller ones. Ready, Set, Heroes, Paw Patrol on a Roll, Jumanji, the video game Spirit of the North Enhanced Edition, and Ice Age. And I believe Spirit of the North actually was already on like regular PS Plus. I don't know, maybe not. Oh no, I remember this game. This is one of the first games to come out for PS5. I remember that. That is interesting. I get November 20th. Anyways, sorry, that doesn't matter. So yeah, that's the lineup, and it's pretty good. I'm very happy. And you can get this if you're simply in a PS Plus extra member. You don't even need to be a premium. Now, I will get into premium in a second after we get into the ramification of this. So, I'm not necessarily saying that this is a fantastic collection of games. Let's just talk about the big three. The Ubisoft Assassin's Creed ones are cool. I'm glad that they have those. I'm glad that they have a ton of basically pretty much most of the Assassin's Creed library pre Origins. And Valhalla is also on there, so a lot of Assassin's Creed. But let's talk about these main three. So Stray, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and Marvel's Avengers. Now, these are, for all intents and purposes, pretty solid games in the sense that they are big AAA games. Now, Stray is a little smaller than that, but people have been interested in it. It is a day one exclusive release to PS Plus Extra, so I'm perfect. I don't know if it's an exclusive. It's probably on PC. Let's make sure that we know that. Yeah, it is coming out for PC as well. However, still big console exclusive. So that's great. And day one. So that's like in itself that makes up for the game not being to the league as some other games that could be on here. Final Fantasy Remake Intergrade. I love this. Not only did Remake Intergrade come out relatively recently, this is the Integrated Edition. I'm glad they're not just putting the PS4 edition and then making people pay to upgrade, which would make no sense given that if you do this, you don't own the game. Again, none of this, I believe. I don't think you own these games. I'm sure you don't. However, you don't, do you? No way you do. Yeah, no way. I know you do from the regular. Yeah, extra. Yeah, okay. Sorry. I just had to make sure that was correct. I didn't think it would be, but that just seemed crazy. Anyways, so you don't own these games, so it makes sense that you don't get that. But yeah, I think the most important thing that this sets here, and then Avengers, which is, has gotten a kind of, it's kind of like No Man's Sky, which it's gotten better, but it's nowhere near to the quality or it's gotten better, but it started out pretty terribly. So it kind of got shit from that. But I'm excited that this is a monthly thing. It seems like this is a monthly thing, and there are going to be at least 3. They put a standard out for 3 relatively big, meaty games. Again, Marvel's Avengers, pretty meaty third-person action-adventure game with a lot of content, both single-player and multiplayer, that they have added for a while, but there's still a lot of content there. Final Fantasy VII Remake integrated, huge RPG, giant game, and then the Intergrade edition as well to that is pretty meaty as well. So huge game there. And then Stray, not as big a game, but certainly something that probably every PS Plus Extra member will play because it's a day one release and it looks interesting enough. So I'm very thrilled to play this. I will be today subscribing to PS Plus Extra, downloading games like Returnal and Ghost of Tsushima that I want to play. I haven't gotten to yet. And then I'm certainly going to be on July 19th playing Stray. I'm very excited for that game. I'm not going to be playing personally. I don't know if you're interested in the personal aspect of it, but I already own Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, and I have I can play Avengers on Game Pass. And I was planning on it, so it's not like these are 2 giant games for me. But I'm excited for the precedent they set. It's gonna be interesting to see, and I'm excited to see what next month brings. So I think this kind of gives PS Plus a bit of validity in this marketplace. I don't think clearly it's not nearly to the extent of Game Pass, because not only does Game Pass have games to the quality of and impact of Final Fantasy VII Remake or Avengers or any Assassin's Creed, it's got those games for sure. On top of that, it also has a ton of smaller indie games. On top of that, all games are not downloadable, not the streamable. That's mainly with PlayStation Plus, but it also Xbox games, first-party games coming out day one. Where Sony isn't doing that. They have some day one releases, but it doesn't seem that they're putting, clearly not God of War and clearly not other things. But I genuinely think this demonstrates that PS Plus, well, it's not necessarily, I wouldn't go to say it's a worthy competitor. However, it is closing the gap. Xbox Game Pass was a pretty big benefit, and still remains a big benefit that PS Plus players would like to enjoy. And I think that is a thing that PlayStation players are jealous of. And so I think Sony's have done the bare minimum to start to give PS Plus players a little bit of leeway and say, hey, look at that. We may not have Game Pass. We may not be as big as Game Pass, but hey, we're getting some pretty decent, solid, big games on here, and it's starting to kind of make sense. And if they treat this PS Plus regular, what is dubbed now, was always a fantastic deal. Those 3 games that they gave you, and they still do, were always pretty high quality in terms of they're high quality games, and there are a ton of games that they're relatively recent. There are plenty of games where it's like maybe a year has passed, but it's still relatively fresh. So I'm very excited to see how they continue to do this. I don't know if they're going to continue to do it in July. I don't know why, if it's not in July, in the middle of the month. I don't know why this was necessarily July 19th. I don't know if they're going to do August 1st or if they're going to do August 19th. Maybe they're going to do the regular PS Plus at the beginning of the month, tell everyone what those games are, and then do PS Plus Extra, which I think is what they're going to do and what they should do. Kind of spread out these free, quote unquote, free games. But yeah, again, I personally, this doesn't, other than Stray, which we already knew about, doesn't do anything for me personally, but has cemented that I will subscribe to PS Plus Extra and pay that extra $40 a year for these games. Stray to me alone is probably worth at least close to that much. On top of Returnal, on top of the PS5 add-ons to things like Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, I'm certainly gonna subscribe to it right after I'm done recording this, and enjoy that content. So yeah, that is that. I do want to quickly, before we discuss, or before we end this episode, which is a relatively short episode, but I just wanted to get thoughts out there. They announced 2 games for PS Plus Premium, and there were 2 PSP games called, and I don't know what these are, No Heroes Allowed and Loco Roco Midnight Carnival. And I've looked at screenshots of them, and they both look like relatively cheap kind of games that I do not know about. So PS Plus Premium remains a service that I will not utilize. I will just be going with Extra. And I'm wondering what the whole point of PS Plus Premium is, if I'm being honest. I look at that game catalog, and PS Plus Premium is basically the old PS Now. I mean, they just took everything from PS Now and put that where Premium is, and then separated from PS Now those PS4 games, and then added some other games and made that into Extra. And of course, the threshold to go from regular to Extra is $40, and the threshold to go from Premium or Extra to Premium is only $20. So obviously, there's some strategizing there, and I think people will take that $40 plunge for PlayStation Plus Extra. But Premium still remains that for people who just either really want to play those old games or just kind of have $20 they feel comfortable with just throwing around to play some of these old games. I don't feel like internet streaming technology is quite there yet for me to really want to give that a try. But Extra is certainly not a worthy Game Pass competitor, but something to close that gap. And I'm very, very happy that we have that. I'm very, very happy that it seems that these services are trying to be worthwhile for the consumer. And I think both, obviously Game Pass, I've been a staunch supporter of, steadfast supporter of ever since it launched like 4 years ago or so, or whatever, 5 years ago maybe. It's been a while actually. And of course, PS Plus Extra has, in my opinion, at least for me, and I feel like if anyone who is a PlayStation subscriber and is already on PS Plus regular, as most people seem to be, if anybody takes a look at the catalog, will find $40 of added value in there. And given that now they've confirmed these games, and they seem to be confirming that they're doing these games in monthly batches, I think it is wonderful and proves that this is a service that is going to be worth that $40 every year. So I'm not necessarily worried about trying to shift back and forth and decide, do some math on it. I'm just going to kind of subscribe to it and let it go like I do with Game Pass. I'm sure if I really went into Game Pass, I could shave off something there, but I don't think so. I just implicitly trust it to have its value, and I think it does. Certainly it does for me, and I think for anybody objectively, I think Game Pass is worth it. So yeah, that's that. Excuse me. I don't have anything else to say. This is a relatively short one, and that's good because it'll take less time to get out there. But yeah, we're going to be doing these new things. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have, I'd love to hear your opinions about PS Plus. If you own a PlayStation, what are you subscribed to? Are you not subscribed to PS Plus at all? Or do you have regular? Or are you a premium subscriber? Do you find that that streaming added PS3 and PS2 games worth the price? I wouldn't if I could play like old PS1 games and but at this point it'd be all third-party games that I'd want to play. If I could play old games like that from the PS1 and PS2, and they don't even have to be the remastered versions, just put those old stuff in there and see what happens. But I feel like unless you're Nintendo, who doesn't necessarily remake their games too much most of the time because they genuinely just hold up. Games from the GameCube hold up remarkably well compared to games from that era, PS2, Xbox original era. Those games hold up really well. So, Nintendo is kind of the exception, but I'm not saying make PlayStation Plus like NSO, but I think NSO, if they put GameCube, Game Boy games in there, would be worth it. But I mean, just put some of those kind of really old games that people would maybe be interested in there. When you talk about bringing Vita games and PSP games, people are thinking of a lot more different kind of games. When I think of PS Vita games, I think of games like Persona 4, or Persona 4 Golden, which were always like lost to the Vita, right? You couldn't not until very recently could you play that without a Vita. So I'm thinking of those types of games that maybe companies would just feel comfortable putting out there. But like Metal Gear, I'd love to see Metal Gear Solid on there. That's another example. I mean, some of these types of games, I wish they had, but that's I guess just how it is. But yeah, I will. That's all I have to say. I don't want to get into too much of a tangent here about NSO, but we'll talk about that if there's an NSO thing to talk about. But genuinely, I'm very happy to see this whole thing happen with PS Plus, and I think it's a worthwhile service. So, anyways, I'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's episode. Probably, maybe, who knows? Depends on if there's news. But yeah, otherwise, I will see you guys on the next episode. Have a great rest of your day and make the most of it. Whenever you do it, it makes it that much better. And yeah, honestly, just good luck.